A little. Robert?
I'm not sure it will.
Okay. Get it going again.
Robert Fessenstein, Deputy for Prestwich Hebrew Congregation in Manchester. Following on, coincidentally from the last question, there has been a disturbing trend in recent years of conferences described as discussing peace in the Middle East when there are nothing of the sort. There was one going to be in Southampton which was cancelled. There was one more recently in Exeter, and I believe there was one in Dublin. What does the panel think about allowing these conferences which more promote hate than they do peace taking place either in local authority or government premises?
Thank you. I'll invite Sajid to start the response.
Thank you. Well, I think such conferences, I mean, first of all, of course, going back to what we asked earlier about human rights, one of our human rights is freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, and that should be totally respected. But that doesn't stop one from having a view on the conferences. I think the conferences are divisive and wrong, and any political party or political leaders that have supported such conferences are wrong to do so as well. And this obviously relates to the boycott issue, because I would like a bit of a response to that. If Keir is saying that the Labour Party's policy is now not to support the boycotts, will he confirm today that if Labour is elected, that will they continue with this government's policy of banning local councils from boycotting Israel, yes or no, because that is not current party policy?
Kirsten.
Thank you. I'm interested in some of the language that you've used, because I think it's absolutely crucial to what you're asking about. You talk about, you begin to talk about promoting peace in the Middle East, which obviously is a very positive and well worthwhile endeavour, but then you explain that it is, in fact, an issue where people are promoting hate. And I think that comes down to the absolute crux of what you're asking about. Anything and anybody who is promoting hate, in whatever context, is to be condemned, and it is our job here on this podium to absolutely condemn that kind of behaviour wherever and whenever we see it.
Keir.
I support free speech and freedom of assembly. Of course I do, as a human rights lawyer and advocate of human rights. But that speech and that assembly is not unlimited. There are limits to what can be said, and those limits are clear. And hate speech, and extreme hate speech, is unacceptable and shouldn't be promoted. And I think in terms of anti-Semitism in particular, when we talk of zero tolerance, zero tolerance, we should mean zero tolerance. And I mean that in this constituency, I mean that in this country, and I mean it in my own party. So let me be absolutely clear. Zero tolerance is not just two words. It means that you come down particularly hard on particular words and behaviour in order to demonstrate how abhorrent it is and to ensure that it doesn't, it can't be encouraged and go further than it's already gone. So zero tolerance. As I've said now a number of times, both I and my party are against boycotts. We will have a manifesto launch on Tuesday, and we'll answer all questions then. Thank you.
Sarah.
I agree with what colleagues have said about free speech, but free speech has limits, and those limits include incitement to terrorism and violence. And wasn't John McDonnell was seen on a platform recently with the flag of, was it Hamas or Hezbollah? I'm sorry, I ought to remember that. No, and Hamas, I think. And I think politicians need to be very careful in who they associate with, as well as the words that they use. There's been a real problem of Israeli or pro-Israeli speakers on campuses in this country. I was very glad to see that Ambassador Regev went to SOAS recently. SOAS seems to have a continuing problem, and it is up to the university authorities to carefully parole that boundary between free speech and the legitimate exchange of different views
As I say, can we hang on?
I agree. I don't
Sarah,
think they do sufficiently.
Now? Thank you. Simon.
The general election, and we will also have just come past the visit of the President of the United States to Israel. What that will bring, anyone can guess. But thank you for joining us today as deputies or whether not deputies, I think we have had an absolutely remarkable meeting which will stay in our memories, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you very much indeed.